had to pick up a couple items at the grocery store, so that's why I ended the last live in the manner in which I did. But anyway, I couldn't imagine being in our days and times that we're currently in and not be aware of the deceptions that are in place. Not being privy to how the true enemy moves throughout the earth and how he utilizes various colleagues en route to the achievement of a common goal, which is the destruction of mankind, soul-wise anyway, trying to keep us from being able to access the kingdom of the Most High. That's what this is all about. Because the proverbial good versus evil, they cannot beat the forces of good. That's just, so it's like not even, it's like, they're not even in contention with the forces from the Most High God. I think a lot of times people get it misconstrued, thinking it's now on the surface structure, it gives the mere appearance that it's a back and forth duel. Like, nah. And I'm not saying the forces of darkness are not powerful, but they are nowhere near on the level of Team Most High. And besides, if the Most High decided to be like, end it all right now, he could easily do that. No problem, with no sweat, no exhaustion, no, none of that. So that's what that is as far as that. We don't give the Most High God enough credit, I don't believe. You know, I was watching some show earlier this morning. One of these tech guys, you know, I'm sure they've got their place within that triangle in the beast system. You know, he's sitting up here. He doesn't, the interviewer was Tucker Carlson. He kept asking him, so do you not believe in God? And then they had to switch it up how he was asking it, or a higher power or something. He didn't just outright deny it, because they know that the Most High God exists. They know he's powerful. They know he created everything. They know this. That's why they'll never just come out and just flat deny it. They'll give some bumbling, would-be scientific approach of an answer when it's really just fancy wordplay. Fancy word gymnastics. That's all it is. Sitting up here acting like, you know, like, yeah, they know he exists, but this is why they keep trying to come up with various inventions, because this AI stuff, this is some wicked stuff. You know, we got so many people out here, they're trying to learn the ways of AI and trying to get versed in it so that they can have a quote-unquote successful future down the line, not even understanding that this is the end game. You know, they still trying to chase worldly achievement. At this juncture, I think it's safe to say any attempt to trying to, you know, chase world achievement is only going to end one way. You know, and then all your focus got to go to that, and now you're depleting focus away from the Most High. That's major. There is nothing minor about that at all. That's a major thing. But yet, here we are, people still trying to hold on to life and the cares of this world, holding on by a thread. And then they're really fence straddlers, because one foot in the door, they want to claim to be holy for the Most High, but then on the other end of the spectrum, they sit here trying to chase the cares of this life. So, you know, and the cares of this life are all controlled by Samael, Satan. Like I said, and I will always continue to say, they're only going to allow who they allow to be quote unquote successful is by selling their soul and worshiping them. And then they be involved in all this Moloch child sacrificing and all these different things going on, but masked under the guise of different things. Like you guys, like trafficking and all this stuff is way more to it. You gotta start looking at the spiritual aspects in everything. So, there's always some type of ritual or some type of blood sacrifice always has to be made on that side of the spectrum, or some type of homosexual action always got to be implemented on that side of the equation. There's always some level of nakedness always got to be extenuated on that side of the equation. It is crazy with the Hollywood celebrities. Like, man, it is just unreal. People that be following these celebrities around, worshiping them as idols, and then not even understanding that this stuff goes real deep with these celebrities and the different things they got to be engaged in. And then the ones who try to break their programming, they always end up being destroyed. They've got people in every walk of life, from the super wealthy all the way down to the homeless. They've got agents of evil inserted in all these different areas and avenues en route to trying to achieve their goal. That's why most people will be destroyed going through all of this. So that's why I keep saying I couldn't imagine being in these days and times not having at least a little bit of adequate knowledge in regards to the things that are going on and how they're being carried out. Because like I said, I'm nobody. I'm just trying to please and serve the Most High God in a real way and do my part. Because that's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to follow the ways of this world. Look where following the ways of this world gets us every time, gets us hurt every time, gets us going through the most every time. Near-death experiences and all these different things every time. Killing yourself trying to please and satisfy the next one, thinking it's going to be for the betterment of your so-called would-be future. Only future I'm seeking now is the kingdom of the Most High. I want that access. That's what I'm seeking. And He takes care of me in all of my ways. So when people, when they start coming around you with they want a pubic region measure, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, man, I got a job at such and such. And in the way they're describing this job that they were so in love with, well, the money from it, anyway, they're sitting up here. They sound like a slave. And they sound like they've been mind nullified along with that. Because it's like the way they describe it, it's like they're trying to convince themselves it's a good thing. But deep down, you can see the pain, you can see the sorrow, you can see the fatigue, you can see their health starting to decline. You can see all these different things, because in this age we're in, everything's about money. If it ain't about money, it don't make sense. That's all you hear. But it's like, if your health isn't squared away, all this so-called money that you're seeking won't mean squat dilly in the overall grand scheme of it all, because you won't be around to be able to enjoy or spend it. They can barely even enjoy it now, because their every waking moment is being there. Now, I'm not saying we're not supposed to do what we do you know what I mean, for our survival and things, but it's more to it than just that. You know, we all supposed to be entrepreneurs out here with our own, making our own. And then they rig everything up to where you never really own nothing. You gotta do specialized things so you can get complete ownership, and then in that they'll still find some type of loophole. So it is what it is. That's why we must fully educate ourselves in the spirit of the Most High in everything. It's deep. We gotta stop neglecting how deep that really is. We gotta understand why we are suffering under the curses that we're up under. You know, yes, he's a forgiving God, but yeah, he's a God of judgment also. Look at the world pre-flood and the wickedness that was around everywhere. They be trying to make us believe that, oh, it was a primitive species. Nah. There was high technological societies back then as it is now. And it might have, you know, and we're just now getting back to the point in which it was then. Because CERN and HARP, these weather modifying machines and these machines that open up portals, those technologies were at the Tower of Babel. You know, angels was down here back in those times. The gates were open between heaven and earth. There was no separation like that during those times. So yes, knowledge was up there back then. And then those giants came and they was just wrecking shop because they wasn't supposed to be here. You know, they're half angel, half human. That's a wicked concoction because the spirit of the Most High wasn't in it. You know? So yeah, we just now getting back to that point. So we need to understand history for what it is. Stop accepting this watered down, fictionalized knowledge that they try to give us when it's nothing but lies, doctored up lies in immaculate window dressing. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all that it's gonna be. We gotta understand that time is really short. And then back in those times, people lived 800-900 years. Imagine being that close to God. God hadn't separated himself from society like that. Imagine living for centuries. You know, you're really never aging. You know, and the reason we age the way in which we do now is because of all the poisonous toxins that they're always giving us one way or another, breaking us down. The Most High, he put healing herbs here, you know, for the healing of the nations. Like, he put everything here that we needed. So when talks of FDA and things like that, and people trying to go get a jab to try to get in front of a boogeyman sickness, it don't mean nothing to me, because it's all deception. It's all deception. And like I said, look up COVID-19. And just like that, COVID-19, and see what that says in the dictionary or on Google. It says possession by an evil spirit. Evil spirits are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim giants that were here. When they said the Nephilim were here during the pre-flood days and after, so they are back, you know. But that jab was a precursor to the next stage that they're getting ready to implement. They needed to get that into the people so that the next phase can be successful. And it all is all tied in together with 6G, because they got to use human energy for that. The people will be the AI. You know, start looking at old movies 10 years ahead of each decade and look at the things that they were putting in the movies. And it's always within that next decade, the things that were so-called sci-fi in the movie had been rolled out in real time, in real life. Start checking into that type of stuff if y'all already haven't. Hi, everybody. Blessings to everybody. But yeah, start checking into those things. You know, you will be the laptop, the phone, the computer, the this, that, and the third. I mean, already, people have already got this neural link, you know, controlling things with their thoughts now, merging with machines. Them doing that, and then you gotta think about it. Y'all merging man and machine together. Why didn't God just create those type of creations? Because they're flawed. Now we are a perfect creation, but that's separate from our ways and seeing and all this other stuff. You know? So it's deep. It's so deep. And I don't want to get into all of it right now at this point. But just stay in prayer. Stay hedged under the protection of the Most High. Because that's the only way. Don't fall into these deceptions. Digital ID and all this stuff, don't accept it. The acceptance of those things will be your glute region. Sizzling hot. You don't want to do that. Don't want to do that at all. But look how much stuff has already happened and went down this year. It's getting ready to get real. February 28th is the real day of the real true new year. So you gotta remember that too. Y'all can fact check me on it. But with that said, God bless everybody out there. Stay safe. Don't allow yourselves to be deceived. Pray for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Believe you me, the Most High will give it to you. And it will be on time. Praises be to the Most High God. And blessings to everybody.